Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, everyone. This is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. You are here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, sanity, and life success. Our guest today is Ruth Gotian. Dr. Ruth is the Chief Learning Officer and Assistant Professor of Education in Anesthesiology and former Assistant Dean of Mentoring and Executive Director of the Mentoring Academy at Weill Cornell Medicine. She has been hailed by the journal Nature and Columbia University as an expert in mentorship and leadership development. In 2021, Dr. Gotian was selected as one of the 30 people, listen to that, people, to be named to the Thinkers50 Radar List, dubbed the Oscars of Management Thinking, and is a semi-finalist for the Forbes 50 over 50 list. In addition to publishing in academic journals, she is a contributor to Forbes and Psychology Today, where she writes about optimizing success. Her research is about the mindset and skill set of peak performers, including Nobel laureates, astronauts, and Olympic champions. Her current book, The Success Factor, is out right now and is available on Amazon, and I'm guessing on her website as well. And it's called, again, The Success Factor. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ruth Gotian.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here with you.
And I am grateful and thrilled that you are here as well. This is amazing. I spoke off camera, shall we say, that, I am impressed with your bio because this is pretty hot, Ruth.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's, it's tough to get and it's tougher to maintain. So I'm still working at it. You'll
be working at it for a long time to come. So did anything go beyond the semi-finalists for the Forbes 50 over 50 list?
No, because those who made the Forbes 50 over 50 were people like Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi. Oh. So I didn't make the ultimate list. However, on the Thinkers 50, yes. I went from top 30 to top 1. So, I take what I can get, and that's the best list in my industry. So I am thrilled for that. Thrilled.
I would rather be a top 50 thinker than a Forbes 50 over 50.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to choose, I don't have to choose either.
Well,
of
I got number 1, so I don't even have to worry about 50.
I know, you're number 1. You're number 1. I have to write number 1.
Yeah, for the emerging management thinkers. Yeah, I was shocked. They pulled me on stage. It was virtual. And I just spoke to the co-founders yesterday, and they still laugh at it because I literally was at a loss for words. I didn't see it happening.
Well, sometimes
I'm glad it did.
Of course you are, but it's also sometimes nice to be dumbfounded by something.
Yeah.
Because you can't get any better than that in that moment, I'm sure.
That's right. It was an incredible around incredible people. And it's, you put a lifetime of work towards something and you don't do it for the recognition, but boy, is it nice when it comes your way.
Absolutely. And well deserved.
Thank you.
But it's just nice to win those awards. It's like, it's just like confirmation that all the hard work you've been doing since God knows what, since you were 12.
Long time.
Yeah. I'm thinking you started young. You had something going for you when you were a child that said, I think I have to do something special with my life.
Just want to do it differently.
Well, I like people who do things differently because I think that's what it's all about.
I agree.
And so you're going to talk to our audience today and tell them how to achieve greater success, the blueprint you have, and how you interviewed almost 100 extreme high achievers. Was Tom Brady in that bunch?
He was not.
Yeah, I think we're talking about more than physicality here. and distill down to 4 elements. I don't know how you can do that unless they're very wordy elements, but
yeah.
Go ahead.
Joanne, it's not about habits. I think we've all tried to wake up at 5 a.m. and read 8 hours a day and all of these other things. And what a shock when it actually doesn't work out. So I really understood that it was not about habits that you can copy, but it's mindsets that you can emulate. And I actually took a really deep dive into this. Actually, at the age of 43, I went back to school to get my doctorate. And I did that while working full-time and raising my family. And I studied success. I studied extreme success because I didn't think that we were looking at it in the right way. I thought that if we could somehow create more successful people, our productivity would improve. And I think now that's more relevant than ever as we have this great resignation. And it's hard, and it's hard to get the right people in the workplace. So you might as well focus on those who are high potentials and high achievers. So my original research was actually on the top physician scientists. So many Nobel Prize winners and directors from the National Institutes of Health and a former Surgeon General, because of my background in academic medicine. And I quickly realized they all did these 4 things, these 4 elements, which I'll definitely talk about. But I was curious if what I found with the physician scientists, with the Nobel Prize winners, if the same thing would hold true for other extreme high achievers. And that's when I really went on my quest to interview the astronauts, the Olympic champions, the NBA champions, NFL Hall of Famer, CEOs, senior political figures. And you know what, Joanne? They all did the same exact things. And that's when I realized that success can be learned.
Good.
And if success can be learned, I'm an adult educator, I can teach it. So I reverse engineered it, created a blueprint. Happy to share what those 4 things are. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first one is tapping into what we call in adult learning, your intrinsic motivation. This is passion and purpose, but it's more than, you find your passion, you'll never work a day in your life. That sounds nice, but you really want to tap into your calling.
Hello.
Why you were put on this earth, right? What you would do for free if you could.
That's what I have been doing for years. I call myself a true calling life coach, and people are just now figuring out, I haven't found my true calling yet.
That's right. And your true calling can change over time.
Oh, yes.
Which is important to understand. So this is why you were put on this earth. You would do it for free if you could. It's not about the medals, those medals, awards, promotions, rewards. That's when other people are judging you. But when other people are judging you, I don't know about you, but I find that very difficult to maintain and sustain because you're always trying to live up to somebody else's expectations.
And their biases.
And their biases. And their expectations change. But when you're doing it for yourself, you're actually going to do much better. And that really comes from within. So tapping into your passion and purpose and your intrinsic motivation, your calling, that's number 1. Number 2, when you figured out what that is, you're going to outwork everyone. And I don't mean you're going to work 18-hour days. You are going to work smarter, not just harder. You are going to leverage your peak performance hours. So for example, if I'm a high achiever and I'm a morning person, I do most of my creative intellectual work, which for me is writing and editing, in the morning. I leave my Zooms for the afternoon when I'm just a bit more tired and a little slower. So you have to know how to leverage your peak hours. It's also the way that you're looking at challenges. So high achievers, they never question if they will overcome a challenge. They know that they will. Instead, they focus on how to overcome the challenge. What is that strategy I haven't thought of yet? It's not a question of if, it's a question of how. And all of that, how they face their challenges, is all part of their work ethic, tenacity, resilience, grit, whatever term you want to use. It's all part of the same thing. Now, 3, is a strong foundation, which is constantly being reinforced. What you do early in your career, you're going to do later in your career. So, for example, Bonnie Blair, long track speed skater, right? Mm-hmm. She was in the Olympics. She won a bunch of medals. And at that time, her biggest opponents were the East Germans, right? We had East and West then. And she said, if you looked at their thighs, they were like tree trunks. And Bonnie said to me, I could never compete with them on power. It just wasn't going to happen, even if I was at the gym all day. So what I couldn't do on power, I was going to beat them on technique. So she went back to her original coach and she worked on her technique. And that's how she won gold medal and another gold medal and another gold medal. She went back to the basics and she kept reinforcing them. Doesn't matter if you're an athlete or an astronaut, it's the same idea. And last but not least, you've heard of Mark Cuban and Bill Gates and Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
They
Absolutely.
read 3 to 8 hours a day. They're notorious for that. They're billionaires. It's not reading that made them billionaires. It's being open to new knowledge. Now, they love reading, and I do too, but it's really more about opening your mind up, seeing points and making connections that other people don't see yet. And you can only do that if you're infusing new knowledge into your mind. So while reading for hours a day works for Cuban and Gates and Buffett, there are other ways that we can do that. So maybe it's a podcast such as this one, right? Hopefully we're sharing good stuff here with people. Maybe it's YouTube videos. Maybe it's courses on LinkedIn Learning. Maybe it's talking to other people, right? Now, all of the high achievers, when it came to talking to other people, they surrounded themselves with a team of mentors, not just one, a team of mentors who believed in them more than they believed in themselves. So those are the 4, the intrinsic motivation, the perseverance, the strong foundation, and the informal learning. You do all 4 together, you will see a huge difference in your success. And that's what works for the Nobel Prize winners, astronauts, Olympic champions. It's what they've been doing from day one. And I believe that everyone can do it too.
Well, these were all doable tasks. Mm-hmm. I don't want to minimize them by calling them a task, but these are all, doable. Mm-hmm. And I find that sometimes people don't want to work. Yeah. They don't want to apply themselves. Oh, I've done that before. Okay. Yep. We'll do it again, but better. I don't like to read. I mean, there's even an application out now where you can read synopses of everything. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm missing the nuances. I'm missing, that's right. And then I know that Jeff Bezos, I'm just pointing him out, connecting with some of the words we've just spoken, space, mm-hmm. et cetera. That's what he did. He surrounded himself with people from school that he knew, other people that made his team. And, he had the idea and they helped him create it because they got on the bandwagon and, people go, how can you like Jeff Bezos? I said, who wouldn't?
And you're so right. It really is all about that. And that's why, while I talk about the 4 elements of success, what kind of an adult educator would I be if I didn't teach you how to implement these things in your life? So I use all these people as examples, right? These astronauts and Olympic champions. But then I actually teach the reader how to implement these things in their own lives. Because you said it sounds easy. But going from sounding easy to doing it, there's steps in between. And what I quickly realized, and this is what frustrated me with other leadership books, A, they were not necessarily based on research, but B, there was no application. And I'm an adult educator. I have to teach people how to implement it. So when I talk about tapping into your intrinsic motivation, I actually teach you how to do that. But, Joanne, what works for you may not work for me because we're different people. So I need to offer options so that you can choose what works for you and I could choose what works for me. Realizing also that these things might change when we have a transition in our lives. a new job, a move, another child, a pandemic. So we need to have a lot of what I call a buffet of options that you can choose from. And I did that for every single one of the 4 elements of success. Each one has a buffet of options. So I tell people, this is really a book you can keep on your nightstand and just open to whatever section you need reinforcement in, and you will get the tools needed. Not only that, I know that some people like to learn not just by reading, but by actually working with the material. So I made sure that for those who want it, there's actually free online resources that come with the book that people can download. Passion audits, goal audits, mentoring team worksheets. It's all there.
I'm very engaged in what you're speaking about. And I know that I've spoken to some clients, some individuals, workshop participants, etc., about some of these things, not as in-depth as you. And the word buffet, it's interesting that you put that out there, because that's something that has been following me for a long time, that I was told years ago that I have a buffet of options.
Yeah.
Before I moved here, it was like, what in God's name am I going to do? And things changed just based on the energy that floats around here. And it's the buffet of options that I'm curious about right now. So obviously, when you're talking about outworking everyone, you can give them some choices. Obviously some people work at night, better in the morning, better in the afternoon, don't work on Saturdays or Sundays, do work on Saturdays or Sundays, don't work Mondays or Tuesdays, and whatever works in their life. But it's, is this in your book, the buffet of options for all of these 4?
For each one of the 4.
Oh, good.
Each one of the 4, I go into detail because I think it's so important.
Yes,
that
it is.
People understand how to apply it. I would feel I did not do a complete job if I only told you the what without teaching people the how.
Yeah, the how gets lost a lot. People
Not
go,
with me.
I got that. But, people are going, why? Why a lot. And why isn't the issue. Why is why you're here. That's the why.
Yeah.
You've shown up.
That's
so
right.
If you've shown up in a strong way, in a weak way, you have opportunities.
That's
and
right.
This reading X number of books a day, personally, I don't know where they find the time if they're not reading the excerpts or the highlights, whatever, but you have to read.
Yeah.
You have to read something to get you out of your patterns.
That's right.
Because we're all in our patterns, and then we have no way of thinking differently. And you can't, years ago you could rely on something on television. You can't anymore because the writing is just god-awful. And that's important to me. So you can't watch a good drama and go, oh, look how they did that. Can't do that. It's gone. So you need to read a book. You need to have several books by your nightstand.
That's definitely me. I read 70 to 100 books a year. But I also realize that not everyone enjoys reading. And there are certain people that consume their information in other ways. So they might like to listen on Audible, or they might like to hear it on a podcast, or watch it and engage with it on a LinkedIn Learning course, or passively watch it on YouTube, right? YouTube is the second most search engine, probably because it's owned by Google. But there are other ways to consume the information. And I think what's so critical is that you start to consume new information and open your mind to it and start questioning. I wonder if I could use this in my industry if I tweak this a little bit, because maybe there's a challenge you're having that was solved in another industry. One of the people who I interviewed was the former Undersecretary of the Navy. He said, that's really innovation. You take something that someone else is doing, you use it in a new way. That's innovation.
Absolutely.
But you have to know what the other industries are doing.
Yeah, you have to know what's going on. Even if you don't know it in depth, you have to get a sense of what's going on. Then you go, do I connect with that? Is that going to be beneficial in my business life or my personal life? If it's not, something else will come and take its place, because
that's right.
Things do show up magically.
That's right.
I believe in magic. Right. I believe in magic.
That's right.
And all of that, all of it's, I just do, because, you wonder why. You say, oh, God, I wish I had X, and all of a sudden X shows up, and you go, but it wasn't there before.
Yeah.
So here it is now. But I think one of the things is this adult learning issue. Mm-hmm. It's a difference in the way, people accept things and are willing to, we're filled with patterns that we've created through miles and miles of minutia from the day we were born.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking what we came in with, because what we were born with, but the patterns compound each other. And unless we find a way to get out of the way of our patterns, we won't have room to come in and learn differently.
That's right.
And read new books and, get that spark. I mean, I can't tell you how many sparks I get when I read. I have a pad by my bed as well. And with my Kindle, I have boatloads of books available to me at any time.
Yeah.
And I make notes based on what I read, and it's not all nonfiction.
That's right. That's right.
So
I'm the same way.
It's just, you go through, it's like my daughter will go, how can you read so much? I said, that's what I do. I'm a machine that absorbs data in that way. And then I
enjoy it.
I love it.
Yeah.
If they took away, my book/Kindle, I had, again, I had to go to the Kindle. The libraries are just insignificant now. Mm-hmm. Certainly where I live, inaccessible, etc. And when I read, I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
And it goes, God, I knew that. Oh, I didn't know that. That sounds good. Let's get that quote and reframe it and write a post about it. Because that's what I do.
There you go.
So obviously I'm an innovator, and I didn't know it.
You see? You see? And you use that information for greater good.
Always. I don't think there's any other way, at least for me.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Ruth Gotian, what else do you want to tell the audience? How can they find you?
So I am everywhere on social media. It's just my name, Ruth Gotian. The book is called The Success Factor. And wherever you love buying books, if you want to improve your success, it's everywhere. It's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, and wherever you are, anywhere in the world, on my website, you can find where to get it anywhere in the world, including independent bookstores. And that's ruthgotian.com/book. And it's all there.
Yes, I saw that on your website. Now, as I always attempt, probably I'm reaching 98%, tell the audience that they have to listen to this podcast again with a notepad and a pen, because things change when you write them down. You learn them better. You can go on and, do your Word document, but do it second. First, get a yellow pad, get 12 yellow pads, buy them by the dozen at your local office supply store, and then start taking notes. If anybody saw my place here with all of the notepads that I have, but I'm a creative and that's how I do it. So take notes when you're listening to Dr. Ruth Gotian. It's just take the notes, listen to the podcast, share the podcast with your friends, your family, your enemies, your frenemies, whoever it might be, coworkers, bosses. This is the purpose of a podcast, as opposed to a radio show that disintegrates quickly.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This will be around forever and published in dozens of locations, certainly by the time you people are listening to it. So I want my listeners to take notes, listen to this section, all the sections of this podcast, and apply it to your life. Buy the book. Buy the book, just because she is the Chief Learning Officer and Assistant Professor of Education in Anesthesiology and former Assistant Dean of Mentoring and Executive Director of the Mentoring Academy at Weill Cornell Medicine. Okay? I'm not speaking about myself. I'm speaking about her. So I want to thank Dr. Ruth Gotian for being here today and sharing some magnificent data. And we can all incorporate it into our minds and our bodies and move forward and be happy and more successful. So thanks for being here. This has been great. And is there any final words? Are there any final words that you have?
I will leave people with this from page 46 in my book. Adult learners remember 10% of what they read, 20% of what they hear, 30% of what they see, 50% of what they see and hear, 80% of what they say, and 90% of what they say while they are doing the task. So listen to what you're hearing, take down the notes, and then start interacting with that information in a way that it'll get embedded in your mind and become part of your daily routine and mantra and mindset. You're going to hear the information, write it down, and interact with it, and it'll be part of you. And you'll see that you'll start improving your success.
There you go, people. You've heard it from the expert. Number 1 in the Thinkers50 Radar List. 2021, 2022.
21.
2021. You know, so I leave words out. I mean, I'm just assuming you understand what I'm talking about. It's been a great show, and I hope our audience appreciates it and your time and energy. We'll talk soon, and bye, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.